I'm working to warn as many people as possible to what is actually coming. I've been sounding the alarm since 2020 and trying to prepare people to understand how the macro and microeconomic works. I'm about to share with you is my research. I'm going to share with you exactly what I do. This is about empowerment. Do your own research, study. But I'm always going to be honest with you and peel back the curtain. No gatekeeping here. So yesterday, the Feds decided to lower rates. Now we expected that 0.25. That's why there wasn't a huge response in the market. It's actually going down, which is freaking people out, which is fudding people out. It's when we buy. That's one hint right there. But here's what's going to happen. The Feds are going to keep lowering rates. He announced they're going to start quantitative easing. They're going to stop the quantitative tightening. You need to understand what that means. This morning, Trump said the meeting with China went well. They're going to keep lowering rates of a new Fed chair by second quarter 2026. I guarantee in favor of Trump in cryptocurrency and lowering rates. So that's key. They're going to start quantitative easing, which is printing of money. Now, here's the part that most people don't understand because it's not easy to understand. They don't teach us about hurdle rates and inflation in school. They teach us to go to school, get a job, get a good credit score, and trade time for money. They don't teach you how money actually works. And they don't teach you that all the money in the system is debt, especially now, 120% debt to income ratio. This is not our grandparents' or our parents' economy. You need to wake up. The old 60-40, 60% stock, 40% bonds is dead. You have to wake up to a new reality. Hence the Genius Act, Stablecoin Act, the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, which your banks are going to have clear rules of the road by first quarter 2026 on how to operate in crypto. Why is all this happening? How do we prepare for this? So what they're doing, this is exactly what's happening. Save this video, 2030, and come back to it. Bookmark it. I told you guys in 2020, banks were going to be able to custody your crypto by 2025. Boom. It's true. You guys told me XRP was a shit coin. It was going to collapse. Nobody was ever going to use it. Ripple beat the SEC, and they're dominating, acquiring massive companies, and XRP's right at the center of it. You guys have told me that Bitcoin's going to zero since I started talking about it, and it just keeps climbing. Countries around the world are accumulating it, and companies on the S&P are now creating Bitcoin treasuries. 1,700 a day is being bought by companies, and only 450 a day are mined. And Trump now, at a billionaires, is a number one holder in Bitcoin, and his son Barron Trump is worth 180 million in cryptocurrency. And the Trump family, in 24 months, will be wealthier in crypto than their whole legacy in real estate. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to use stable coins to balance out the US dollar from completely collapsing because the bond market was collapsing. Because stable coins use 60% short-term treasuries to balance them out and make them stable 1-to-1. Hence the Genius Act. Bo Hines stepped down, went out, brought Tether into America. Cantor Fitzgerald is the custodian, which is owned by Howard Lutnick, our Commerce Secretary. He stepped out. His son Brandon Lutnick took over. Trump and Steve Witkoff, who created World Liberty Financial, they both stepped out. If you look at the website, their names changed. It says their name, Amarantis One, showing that they're the co-founders and creators of World Liberty Financial, a decentralized global bank. They stepped out. Steve Witkoff stepped out. Howard Lutnick stepped out. So Howard Lutnick, Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump are writing the rules, and their sons run the ecosystem. I didn't create the game, guys. This is the game. So you think it's some flip of a switch and some magical thing and some... Guys, this has been going on for a long time. Bitcoin was created in 2009, right after the biggest financial collapse in history where we knew America was going off a cliff. Brazil was created. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa created BRICS to de-dollarize. And now Satoshi, we don't know who that is. And the top 4 holders outside of Satoshi are BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, 13 trillion under management. MicroStrategy, Strategy B, and BlackRock is the number 3 holder in Strategy B. Grayscale in America. And Trump now at a billionaire is the number 1 holder in Bitcoin. And Trump now owns a DeFi platform that is a global platform. He told you 7 years ago you're going to be on an even playing field monetarily before you know it in a digital currency. He was worried about the deflation of our dollar, the devaluation of our dollar, and the inflation of our currency. They all told you it was a fraud. It was used for money laundering. Criminals use it. It is until it's not. And now at JP Morgan, by the end of the year, you can use your Bitcoin as collateral. But I thought it was used for criminals. If you're going to let us use something as collateral that's used for criminals and money laundering that's a pet rock, that's kind of weird. Guys, you got to use logic. They got us drunk in the Colosseum in the Roman days. Trojan horse came in. It's the same pattern, guys. Wake up. 1920s, the roaring 20s. Everybody was over leveraged. There's only 11,000 banks underneath the Federal Reserve, which is not federal, nor is it a reserve. This collapsed our dollars 96 to 97%. They wanted all the banks underneath the Federal Reserve, and all the mom and pop banks got crushed. The ones that were underneath the Federal Reserve got to monopolize the other banks. 1929 hit, the Great Depression. 1929 to 1942, this is our crisis stage, 2009 to 2030. We wake up after 1942, BIS is created, IMF is created, Bretton Woods, America became the world's reserve currency. 1950s, the American dream, 30-year mortgages. Why would they want a 30-year mortgages? Why would they want to kick kids out at 18 years old? Because people get more debt. You're not an adult at 18. You should stay under the roof and learn how to become an adult and learn how to save and learn how to invest. Families should work together to build businesses and ecosystems and teach their kids like we are. We pulled our kids out of school, teach them to be entrepreneurs. We're teaching them how money works. We're teaching them not to trade time for money, but to take their money to free up time. We hit 2006 to 2008. And 2009 started our crisis stage. So here's what's going to happen. Within the next 3 years, you're going to see more changes than you've ever seen before. And those who hold the gold, those who hold the Bitcoin, in my opinion, those who hold the XRP, the fixed supply assets, those who create cash flow and get into stocks that generate income and take that income and buy more deflationary assets, those who protect their wealth, the ones on the right side of the interest rate quadrant, because there's no money in the system, there's only interest, as the dust settles in 2030. So Trump is going to bring these rates down like crazy. They're going to print more money than in history. They're going to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. They're going to shrink the balance sheet by growing the rate of the economy. That is going to devalue the US dollar even more. That's why, logically, BlackRock is now the number 2 holder in Bitcoin. That's why Trump owns so much Bitcoin. That's why Barron Trump is worth 180 million. He's the future, guys. That's what he's the future. Wake up, baby boomers. Listen to what I am saying. I don't care what you invest in, but you have to beat inflation. You're not even beating inflation with your investments. If you got a 6% return, inflation was 24% from 2020 to 2024. You didn't even beat inflation. Your purchasing power is being sucked out of your bank account. But you see $10,000. You just see a number. It's a trick. I see it going down. You see this in my assets, and I see it like this in the long term. You're going to have to change your brain. You're going to have to rewire your subconscious mind because you've been programmed to trade time for money, to a debt-based enslavement system. Until you take your money to free up time and you stop buying shit you can't afford to impress people you don't like and borrowing against your future self because you can extend it out and you ask what the payment is and not the interest rate. You need to know what the interest rate is because the interest rate plus inflation means you're getting poorer every single year. Your dollar is going down in value. You're borrowing against your future self. And you'll never get out of the hole. You have to get on the right side of the interest that pays you, not the interest that enslaves you. This is serious. Gotta create cash flow. Gotta get your bills as low as possible. Create that income and put it into assets that will grow. When they profit, protect some of it. And when you leverage, don't leverage against your family's future self. You leverage to buy more assets. And when you want something, you buy it with OPM, assets, other people's money, not your family's future. Men, we have to get our shit together physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially. If you don't follow my YouTube channel, go to 3T as in Tom Warrior Academy. I break this down in long form, free education every single day because I'm passionate about this. We practice what we preach. It's called capital DR, cash flow, into appreciating assets. When they appreciate, into protection. We use responsible leverage, not the leverage where everybody got liquidated. And we de-risk to protect our family. It's our job to be spiritually sound, physically sound, and financially sound as men. And this is the greatest opportunity and the easiest opportunity in history to make money in the next 3 years. But don't come back to this video sitting on your hands and say I did nothing about it, because your kids will be asking you what you did. I love you guys. Warriors, rise! Get your shit together.